Hey everybody, welcome to the Amonkhet spoiler recap for April 6th on the Leek. I'm John as always, and we got 13, I think, if I counted correctly, cards today. We got a lot of extra ones from the Planeswalkers deck, but of course I'm not going to cover those because those have no bearing on the set, and they're not great, so they won't have a bearing on standard or anything like that either. But we're going to jump on into the first card. Up first, we have a reprint. It's been reprinted a few times, I believe. Magma Spray. Magma Spray is a single red mana for an instant at common. Thankfully, Magma Spray deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. It's basically Shock. It's less good than Shock because it doesn't hit players, and that's one of the things that makes Shock fantastic. But this is not fantastic, but it's perfectly fine. It's totally serviceable. There's a number of X2s, X1s that we've already seen, and of course post-combat, a lot of things technically act like they're an X2 or X1 and can be finished off by this. Great card. Love that it's at common. There's a lot of good common and uncommon removal in this set so far, so I'm getting more and more excited the more I see things like Magma Spray, so I'm going to keep my eyes out for more stuff like this. That also was the only common that we saw today. We saw a lot of uncommons and some rares, a good number of rares as well. Our first uncommon is Battlefield Scavenger. Battlefield Scavenger is 1 and a red for a creature Jackal Rogue at uncommon. It's a 2/2. You may exert Battlefield Scavenger as it attacks. And that's it. You don't get anything explicitly for exerting it. You can just exert it. However, it has a second ability that says whenever you exert a creature, itself included obviously, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So you get to rummage, as we call it, after rummaging goblin. I'm getting more and more intrigued by exert. Exert, I think, is going to be a really complex ability. I don't think at all that it's auto use. There's going to be many circumstances where it's way smarter to just attack and be able to attack with it again next turn. Or be able to block with it, maybe. But I'm really excited for this sort of high skill level, when do you do it, when do you don't ability. I'm getting more and more excited for this set, the more cards, the more commons and uncommons that we see. I have seen people complain, we haven't seen the flashy rares and mythics. I'm angry. Why are we seeing all of this limited BS? I love the way Wizards is spoiling this set this season. So keep it up. Very happy with this. Up next is Watchful Naga. Watchful Naga is a 2 and a green creature Naga wizard. I wonder why they choose Naga or Snake, because I am pretty sure some Naga or some Snake wizards have been Snake wizards as opposed to Naga. Interesting. Anyways, it's an uncommon 2/2, so it's a 2/2 for 3. You may exert Watchful Naga as it attacks. When you do, draw a card. What is with them giving green just straight up card draw lately? Sixth Sense, one of the first spoilers we saw, is straight green card draw and literally just a blue card that we've seen before. Strange. Green doesn't necessarily need the boosts compared to some of the stuff it's been getting lately, but yeah, this is a great card. This is totally fine. Again, it's going to be one of those cool examples of when do you exert it, when do you not. I think this one's probably going to be basically always auto exert, but I'll keep an eye on it. Manglehorn is our third and final uncommon. We actually didn't get that many uncommons. We got a lot of rares today is what we got. Manglehorn is 2 and a green for a creature beast, generic beast. At uncommon, it's a 2/2. When Manglehorn enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact. Artifacts your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. It's a sideboard card as far as limited is concerned, and really a sideboard card in constructed as well. It's really just an expensive bear in way too many matchups. But I have seen a fair bit of excitement for this in standard because it's another way of answering the copycat decks. Because remember, you don't often care about this fact, but the cats that are copied by Saheeli are artifact cats. And this would enter them tapped, and so the combo dies. Just like, that other card that I can't... Authority of the Consuls also kind of kills the copycat combo. So cool card with standard implications. On to the rares. Up first is Throne of the God Pharaoh. Throne of the God Pharaoh is a 2 generic mana legendary artifact at rare. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures you control. This is really a win more card, I think, in limited at least, unless we see a whole bunch of great tapping creatures. If you're having a lot of creatures sideways, at least from what I've seen so far, it's because you've been attacking, in which case you're already winning. You know, you're not attacking every turn if you're losing. So this is a win more card. It's just play a different creature instead of this card, most likely. It's got some fun constructed commandery type things. If you do build a whole bunch of tapper decks, this plus Gideon's Lockkeeper and stuff like that could really go off. Could be really fun / annoying, depending on which side of the table you are on. Well, I briefly mentioned Trained Caracal the other day from Return to Ravnica. Today we get to see what a Regal Caracal looks like. Regal Caracal is 3 white for a creature cat at rare. It's a 3/3, and they gone and did it. They made a Cat Lord, and it's not just a Cat Lord. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. When Regal Caracal enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink, which of course will be 2/2 cats with lifelink. This seems ridiculous. First and foremost, don't lose sight of the fact that this is technically a 7 power, 7 toughness lifelinking creature for 5, which is amazing. Regal Caracal looks absolutely amazing. People are obviously going to be massively excited about a Cat Lord because, hey, cats. But this thing looks bonkers. I'm so excited to draft a Nuts Cats tribal deck when I open this. Have I mentioned I'm getting really excited to draft this set? Because I am. Glory Bound Initiate is up next. Glory Bound Initiate is 1 and a white for a creature human warrior at rare. It's a 3/1. I love 3/1s for 2 in white. Have I ever mentioned that before? You may exert Glory Bound Initiate. That is obnoxious to say. Glory Bound Initiate. As it attacks, when you do, it gets +1/+3, becomes a 4/4, and gains lifelink until end of turn. As I said, I love 3/1s for 2 in white. They're my favorite stats ratio vanilla-ish creature. The fact that this can sometimes be a 4/4 lifelinker if I want / need it to be is awesome. Again, I'm super intrigued by the when do you exert, when don't you game that's going to be in this set. Super excited. Soul Scar Mage is up next, a card that I'm much less excited about. It's a single red mana for a creature human wizard at rare. It's a 1/2. It's got prowess. If you're new and you don't know prowess, it's basically whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature that an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on that creature instead. So basically, your spells and your abilities get wither? It's weird. Real weird. It's not going to do a damn thing in limited, I don't think. There just isn't that much direct damage and pingers in the average set, and you're just not going to go off with it. Clearly meant for constructed. I'm not sure if it'll make a splash in standard. We'll have to see. Obviously, Commander, you can do whatever the hell you want. But yeah, interesting card. I'm not personally excited about it at all. We've got another red rare, Hazoret's Favor. Hazoret's Favor is 2 and a red for an enchantment at a rare. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Ugh. I do love a good aggro deck. Absolutely, hands down. Enchantments like this, I'm looking at you, Blood Mist, just have no place in my aggro decks. Some people are going to love this and say it's amazing and a snap first pick and it will win every game ever. I look at it and I see a 3 mana enchantment that if things even slightly don't go my way, I lose the game. I spend 3 mana and a card doing nothing. If I can't attack, if I don't have a creature down, it's Blood Mist all over again. Thankfully, this is rare, so hopefully I won't have to have the Blood Mist argument as much. But yeah, I don't like it. I know some people are going to love it. Something I do love is Curator of Mysteries. Curator of Mysteries is 2 blue for a creature Sphinx at rare. It's a 4/4 with flying. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, scry 1. I'm not sure why it says another. The ability wouldn't be active. Anyways, spoiler, it has cycling for a single blue mana, but that ability wouldn't be active if you cycled this. That's a weird inclusion of the word another. Anyways, this is a 4/4 flyer for 4, and it's a fantastic and very important, as we talked about with Drakehaven, free cycling payoff. You don't have to pay anything for that scry in addition to the cycling cost that you already paid. Love it. I love scrying. I love repeated scrying. I love vanilla test passing flyers. Awesome. Snap first picking this every time. Can't wait to play with Curator of Mysteries. Just a couple cards left. We've got Hapatra. Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons. Hapatra is a black-green legendary creature human cleric at rare. She's a 2/2. He? I'm pretty sure. She says, whenever Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons, deals combat damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Whenever you put a one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. This is interesting, and I think massively worse than anybody wants it to be. In what land, and the land in question is, of course, Magical Christmas Land, but in what land am I getting in for damage with a 2/2, just saying, hey, I've got a 2/2 and I can attack with it, and my opponent has creatures that I can put the -1/-1 counters on? That doesn't happen. If I'm getting in with a 2/2, it's because my opponent doesn't have creatures. And that means that her effect doesn't do anything. And if my opponent does have creatures that I really want to put -1/-1 counters on, she probably is not going to be hitting my opponent for damage. So ultimately, I think this is a pure commander card. Because of course you can hit the player that doesn't have any creatures and put the counters on some other player's target creatures. I don't play much multiplayer commander, but I think pissing everybody at the table off is a great strategy, right? Anyways, our final rare for today is Failure to Comply. Failure is 1 and a blue for an instant at rare. Return target spell to its owner's hand. Unfortunately, you don't draw a card. It's not Remand. Comply is a single white mana for a sorcery with Aftermath, of course, and it says choose a card name. Until your next turn, opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name. Failure is nowhere near as good as Essence Scatter is, because of course Essence Scatter counters the spell. It goes to the graveyard. It's gone, minus Embalm, etc. Failure just is a bounce spell for spells. It just goes back, and you're going to see it next turn, unless you cast Comply. Haha, got him. And then you're just going to see the spell the next turn. This just seems way too crummy tempo. I love tempo. I love blue tempo aggro decks. We haven't seen one in quite a while, and I don't know that we're going to see it here. Yeah, this just doesn't seem to do enough for me. Doesn't seem to do enough for me at all. Maybe there's something that can be done and constructed with it, but I'm not terribly excited with Failure to Comply. It's another of the split cards that I'm going to feel a little bit bad about opening as my rare. I foresee a lot of feel bads with these cards, but again, because you are drawing a card along with it, it kind of has to be rare. But this is a bad one. Our final card for today, the only mythic that we got, is the next Planeswalker, Liliana Death's Majesty. Liliana Death's Majesty is 3 black for a Planeswalker Liliana at Mythic. She is a 5. Just had to lean closer and confirm that. 5 loyalty Planeswalker, 5 loyalty for 5. She has a +1. Her +1 says create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. She has a -3. -3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. The creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. She has a -7, so 2 turns after casting. -7, destroy all non-zombie creatures. Liliana seems amazing. Graveyard to battlefield is amazing. It beats graveyard to hand a billion times over. Making a 2/2 and milling yourself so that you can return something awesome to the battlefield, amazing. Just, kill everything except for the creatures that you've been making and resurrecting. Sold. My mind's made up. Liliana looks amazing. I think she looks even better than Gideon. But yeah, I've made my decision. In my store league, my strategy is going to be opening black-white, headlined by Gideon and Liliana. That's my plan. That's my strategy. I hope it works out. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today. A lot of cool cards. Today is the day that I have officially switched into, yes, really excited to draft this format. We saw some cool removal. We saw a bunch of good commons and uncommons. We saw Liliana, who looks amazing. Super excited to draft this set. Let me know what you think of today's spoilers. Are you officially excited to draft this set and to play it in sealed? Have you been since day one? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at TheManaLeak. That's Leek, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeak, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeak, and of course, Patreon.com/TheManaLeak. If you want to become a backer there's various rewards, up to and including a playmat when you hit a lifetime donation of $60. That could be in one 1 month. That could be over 60 months. It could be over 120 months if you give me 2 quarters each month. All up to you. Go check it out. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see you all tomorrow.